Can a mortgage loan officer and a commercial photographer build an epic real estate portfolio? Stay tuned. Welcome to this week's edition of NoteSchool TV. And this week, just like all the other weeks, we are going to bring you some amazing guests and some amazing content. So before we get to that, I have three things I'd love for you to do for us. And that's number one, like this episode. Guys, just hit that, like that, give us that thumbs up, and then subscribe. If you have not already subscribed to NoteSchool TV, please make sure and do that. And then number three, hit that bell notification. Boom, hit that bell notification right now so that you will be made aware of when we go live, every Wednesday at 11:05 Central Time. Also, keep those comments coming. We love to have those. So please continue to send those comments. And if you have any questions or want to learn more about what we do at NoteSchool TV and at NoteSchool, just hit us up, right? NoteSchool.com/TV. Again, NoteSchool.com/TV. And we would love to have a conversation with you. So why don't we do what we do every week at this time, and let's go to the news. So this week from Redfin, as reported on DS News, investor home purchasing, well, it slowed considerably in several markets in the last quarter of 2022. And this is the latest industry stats we have on that. And if you notice, well, let's see here. Las Vegas investor purchases year over year change, highest on the list at 67%. Phoenix is next, Nashua County, New York, and you can read down through the list. That is those are the metros with the largest declines in investor home purchases in the fourth quarter of 22. Yeah, those markets have cooled off quite a bit. And, well, with that, one of the other issues that we have is, well, it's inventory. And this is a Market Watch article from last week, and it says, why is it so difficult for builders to meet America's insatiable demand for houses? Here are the 4 reasons slowing down construction. And by the way, according to the National Association of Realtors, we have a shortage of somewhere between 3.8 and 5 million homes in the U.S. as it sits right now. 3.8 to 5 million homes. That's huge. So what are some of the reasons? Well, it would be zoning. The zoning laws that are out there now, density and so on, can be hard for builders to work through, especially in the biggest metropolitan areas. Stricter building codes, right? For earthquakes, for hurricanes and floods and tornadoes and those natural disasters that are out there, and having the building code or having the building codes, and building infrastructure. Chronic labor shortages in the construction industry. The U.S. Department of Labor says that there are 413,000 job openings in the construction industry at this point. And then the high cost of building materials. So the cost of construction is expected to rise an additional 14.1% in 2023. So yeah, there is a huge shortage of homes. So there's still an inventory challenge, guys. So stay tuned, and we will bring you more on that as these stories continue. So let's go ahead and introduce our founder, our fearless leader, our chief visionary officer, and all-around great guy, my friend, Mr. Eddie Speed.
Well, thank you, Joe Varnador. Today we have some incredible guests here at NoteSchool, and always honored to have people that have become my friends. You know, one thing I found out about the NoteSchool family is I meet them originally as students, and then many years later, I wake up and find out they're some of my dearest friends. So you guys welcome today Marishka Pilch and Larry Gill.
Hello, so good to see you.
How are you?
We're doing great.
We're doing awesome. Thank you. Happy to be here.
Well, thank you. If I think about our journey together, it's been quite a ride, right?
Who would have guessed?
Who would have thought? I certainly didn't.
And we're going to try to make sure that we can talk about that a little bit. Where do you guys live?
Well, as of a couple years ago, we moved from Seattle, and we're now in beautiful Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. So,
Well, I have been to your house in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, and it is a beautiful home in a beautiful area, and it is an incredible spot that I don't know that a lot of people actually know about, but it is really beautiful. And congratulations on being able to have the freedom to do that.
Well, one of the things that when we decided to move here, we it's like our business is so virtual, we can do it anywhere. And so that's we decided, well, what's keeping us in Seattle? And we love the North Idaho, and we just said, let's do it. And it was really kind of exciting. Once we did it, it's like, oh my gosh, we're really doing nothing different than what we were doing back in the Puget Sound area of Washington State.
exactly. And years ago, another mentor / friend of ours had told us, live where other people vacation. And we didn't really understand what that meant. But Coeur d'Alene is a vacation spot, with skiing and boating and hiking and hunting and fish, the whole 9 yards, just a beautiful natural area. And we just discovered that it's a great place to live too.
Well, it is a beautiful place. And yes, I've been there. And years ago, I used to get to go up in that area fairly often. I actually had an office in Spokane, Washington, which is about less than an hour away from you guys.
45 minutes. Yep.
And there was a company up there that was a very large note buyer. And I had some people that had formerly worked for that company that kind of ran a satellite office for us up there. So anyway, cool spot in the world. Not many people know about. And congratulations on that. And I want to say congratulations on joining NoteSchool. And I want to talk about that journey a little bit.
Yeah. It's been a
how
long
long ago?
Well, I don't know the exact year. I know it was more than a decade ago. We were, brand new investors. I don't know if I'd even really call us investors at that point. We did have one rental house, and we were looking for opportunities and trying to figure out what would be a good fit for us. I had previously worked in the mortgage business, but I wasn't doing that at that point in time. And we went to our local RIA and went to a bunch of different speakers and stuff. And you came to our local RIA, and what you had to say just really resonated with us. And so we decided to go ahead and sign up for the 3-day class. And I, for one, was kind of blown away. I was, as a former mortgage person, I thought, this is incredible. How is this even possible? How can a person, I always thought, banks are the ones who do mortgages. How can a person actually own a note? And you were showing us some of the different things that could be done with partials, which was, totally beyond me at the time. But so we were intrigued.
And Eddie, you've got this way of teaching as well too, that even a lay person like myself at that time, I got it, and it was just like this is really something we need to get involved in. And I remember it's kind of funny because we went into the room next door to discuss as far as whether or not we were going to sign up for the class, and I kind of joked around. It's like, yeah, we're not going to do this, and it's like, no, I knew in my heart that this was the right thing to do, and here we are in 2023. We're like, in many ways, we're living a dream. We do our business virtually, and we've got a lot of great people we work with and we talk with, and we've got a team that we know we can call at any time to help us through a deal, and it's great.
It was more than we could have imagined, really. And NoteSchool, you have become a dear friend. We've made a number of friends with the team at NoteSchool, and then all the people who are surrounded by NoteSchool. A lot of times we talk about, oh, it's a family, and that seems kind of funny, but it's real, because there's not there's not a lot of people in our world, in our space. And so you can get to know them a little bit better. And yeah, we've just made some amazing connections.
To be clear, though, we spent time with Martha, and you definitely married up.
Oh, yeah.
That is a truth. That is a truth. And you have spent a lot of time with Martha. And you know my whole family, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like you've watched my kids grow up. You've seen the whole movie. It's not a story to you. It's a life that you've seen us live, and that we've seen you guys live. And I'll tell you this about our what the culture, and I think what we call our NoteSchool family. These things exist out there. If you've got a leadership that is committed to, this is what we are about. And I formed NoteSchool with a commitment of, I wanted to have an environment. I wanted to have an environment for me. I wanted to have an environment for my family related to business.
Mm-hmm.
As you've seen, all three of my kids are now involved in the business. So it's pretty important that, they have people that, they're comfortable with. And so, we're not a cult, but we are an ecosystem.
That's a good way to put it.
Is that fair?
I think that's fair.
So I want to talk a little bit about your journey. We hear over and over and over of people asking the same thing, right? They're either, they need to increase their cash flow, and they're wondering, can they really walk off their corporate job? Or they need to really, they may be 50-ish or 60-ish, and they're like, I don't feel like I have enough money to retire. Right. And then, so they want to retire off their day job. Some people are young and want to leave their day job like you guys did. And then some people are at an age where they're going to have to leave their day job, or at least they want to. And they're looking at it going, can I do that? So I think a lot of people are very interested in that. And I want you guys to talk about that a little bit.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like most people, I had a W-2 job. Larry had his own business that he'd had for many, many years. And it didn't happen overnight, certainly. It's not a get rich quick scheme. It's a get wealthy over time. But it is possible. I mean, because we're living proof of it. So we got involved with NoteSchool, and we were doing some different things in real estate. And after a couple of years, it became apparent that my job was getting in the way of our business.
Cost you money to go to work.
It cost me money to go to work. And that's when that it's time to make a switch. And so, we had some heart-to-hearts about that. And finally Larry said, I think it's time. I think it's time for you to quit. So I made the first move, and boy, that was scary. But, after a few months, it was like, okay, we've got this. And, took a little bit longer, for Larry to completely transition out of his work. But, and we still, he still keeps a hand in it, not for income, but just he's a very talented commercial photographer. And so yes, we use it in our business and for fun, so.
Yes, Larry can do some of the most beautiful Facebook posts you've ever seen in your life.
He can do more than that, trust me. But
pretty yes, talented. Yeah. Well, I mean, that's where we get to see a lot.
I know.
Yeah. Pretty talented guy there, and so obviously there was some passion there that you didn't hate your day job. It just economically didn't build what you wanted to accomplish.
So, and over the years too, as we've gained more confidence and more credibility and learn more about the business, we have people coming to us and say, hey, we see what you're doing. How can we get involved? And so we've helped them by selling them partials or help them own or finance out of their house, or help others actually buy into a house with using seller financing as well too.
Yeah. very gratifying, But yeah, so same thing with Larry. I mean, he just transitioned out of it when it felt right. But our philosophy has been, when we got into this business, I think we did like a lot of people, where we got into it thinking that it was a way for us to make money. And yeah, definitely you can make money with it. But when we realized that we could have an impact on people's lives, boy, that's what really made it stick.
Making money and helping somebody else along the way, and then making a lot of money and actually making it with your friends.
Yeah,
I've learned it's a really big deal, and we've done that with you guys, on numerous occasions. So I want to talk to you a little bit, like, you guys have a vantage point that sometimes our guests on these shows don't have, and that is, you remember NoteSchool in the early days, and I appreciate, Larry, your kind words, but we have worked hard at learning how to take a concept and make it simple.
Yeah.
And we've worked continually hard at doing it. And you guys have seen me in like early phases of something, and you could follow it, but it wasn't, you didn't instantly own it. And then all of a sudden you've seen it morph. And I want to talk about that, because a lot of the NoteSchool that people get to see today is not the NoteSchool you originally came to.
Oh my goodness. The NoteSchool we originally came to was, 60, 75 people on a conference call.
With dogs barking in the background.
Yeah, no kidding. Not my dogs, their dogs.
Yeah. But I think, what you've put together has, a lot of times when people hear a school, they think, okay, well, we're going to, learn these things and, write these essays and put things together. But you've created NoteSchool, this is my perspective anyway, in such a way that you teach people how to think strategically, how to think differently, how to look at things from a different perspective. Instead of telling them, this is what you need to do, A, B, and C, you teach them the concepts and how to put them together. And there's usually not just one way to do something. There's usually multiple ways of doing something. And that I think is what keeps it interesting for me, keeps it exciting. I suppose it could be intimidating to some people who do want to be spoon-fed, but I think you do a good job of kind of pulling people out of their shell and making them think a little bit differently. And the resources that are available at NoteSchool, I think are pretty incredible. And I think a lot of times people don't realize, what's really there. They want to see the coursework. They want to see, how to do it. But where you learn the most is in doing it itself. And so the different webinars that the training classes that you have every week, where you can bring your deal on and have people talk about it and ask questions and pull it apart and say, hey, have you thought about this, or what about that? And I tell you, it's kind of intimidating when you first time you bring a deal on the deal, on any of the calls. But and I, for one, usually just forget everything that was said. So I'm so glad everything is recorded.
So we're working with some flippers and investors right now who kind of got caught with the change in the economy and the interest rates and everything else, and they've got some houses that they're not able to sell, and so we're working through how can we creatively help them either private finance to get houses or other things, and so it's funny because one of them said the other day, it's like, well, you and Marishka know everything. It's like, no, we don't know everything, but when there's something we can't give you the answer to, we're going to go to our team and we're going to go ahead and present it and say, what do you think about this? And it's that collaboration that works really well. So
yeah.
I was in an interview the other day. I hadn't thought about this until you just said it. It was kind of going through my mind. This guy says, what makes NoteSchool unique? Why are you a unique school? And I thought about it a minute, and I said, I tell you what I think makes us unique. We train our students as if they're employees. We don't train our students to go pass a test.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? We're not trying to memorize material so we can give you a test and say, oh, well, good, Marishka, you got an A on your test. We want you to own it when you need it.
Yeah.
And the reality is that deals that we do, the deal labs, and people bringing stuff on, as you said, and we continually see another example, and we add that to the 3-day class. And so, it looks different all the time because we keep seeing another way that a deal happened, or another way of looking at it. And sometimes it's you guys that come up with a way to do it, or, it's not. I have so many students like you guys that are so seasoned. It's far from all the creative ideas coming just from me.
Sure. Yeah. We learn things. That's the thing that's great about this business is, we literally learn things every single day. And
no doubt.
To us, that keeps it exciting,
No doubt.
But
so I want to talk a little bit about one of the things. So a lot of things that people talk about is, how do you walk off your day job? And I think you made that clear. You did it part-time till you walked off your day job. You didn't jump off.
Right.
Wasn't like you jumped off a cliff.
That seems like a recipe for disaster.
It could be, right? And the other thing is that you now know so much, as you described, how to look at a deal differently than other people, right? The other thing is you have this beautiful home in Coeur d'Alene that I've been to. It's awesome. But you guys also travel and you do things like people are in disbelief you can really do that. I want to talk about that because that part of your discipline that you can go, that you force yourself to go do these life adventures that you want to do. I mean, this is huge that you can do this and still not give up your business.
Yeah. Yeah. Force ourselves to travel. But I understand your meaning.
Yeah.
Well, when you're physically involved with real estate, say you're a flipper or you're self-managing your rentals, you have to physically be present. You need to be able to check on things and supervise or maybe do the work yourself. But have we seen any of the houses on the notes we own?
No.
Maybe
Not
just
physically. You've never touched the wall.
I've never touched the walls, and so we learned that, you're doing all of your research, online. There's resources available. There's people who maybe do live locally who you can call on to assist with some things. And so if it's all done virtually, how do you keep it all together? Well, you do that with a phone and a computer, and those are both mobile. So
we did have a deal that kind of went sideways in Mississippi, and I told Marishka, I was like, gosh, the house needs some repairs. I'd love to go to Mississippi. I've never been to Mississippi. And Marishka talked me off the cliff, and we said, oh, no, we're not going to do this. And in the end, we actually ended up finding a young couple that had some experience as far as rehabbing houses, and we kind of vetted them as far as before we private finances to you. This is what we expect. And I actually ended up working out really, really well. And I to this day, I've never seen the house, and they ended up turning around and selling it because they moved to another state because of a job offer. But, that's the thing. It's like, it's if you put it in your head that I don't need to see the house, I need to see the paper.
Yeah.
I need to know what's going on with the, how the paper works and all that. Why do I need to see the house at this point?
Yeah.
Well, in modern day real estate is different than when it was when I started in the business. So they didn't have this vendor network. They didn't have boots on the ground. They didn't have vendors that had digital pictures that you could go drop in there and look at and see like that. All that didn't exist.
It did not exist.
Yeah. It now is commonplace. And of course, it's very common for us. So we teach this. Mm-hmm. And people come to a class and they're like, oh, I just can't imagine that can't happen. Then all of a sudden you start showing them real case studies and how that process happened and how Larry Marishka did this deal in Mississippi and live in Idaho. And then all of a sudden they're like, it's the old saying then, right? We don't know what we don't know until we see it.
That's right.
Mhm.
All right, I want to go back to like what mission you were trying to get on and what mission you've wound up at. So when you joined NoteSchool, you were saying, I like this, I can see the value in it, this makes sense to me. And obviously the NoteSchool you joined was very immature compared to what we have today. But you know, we stumbled along and did okay, right?
Yeah.
I think you did okay.
But I want to talk about like the Larry and Marishka side of the story, like that morphing, like take that story on a little bit and like define to me, this is our business life today, and here's what it looks like.
Yeah.
Mm.
Well, so do you want me to go back to kind of where we started and
Sure.
the journey to where we
Yeah.
are? Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like you said, the offering, you know, what you were teaching at NoteSchool was very different back then. You know, it was just pretty much, you know, buying performing notes and selling partials. And so, you know, we got involved and, you know, we did some mail campaigns and bought some notes and, you know, different things like that. And, you know, quite frankly, we actually kind of veered away for a few years because we just, I don't know, we were still new and, you know, learning some different things. But we stayed in touch. And I remember you told us, you guys really need to check out, you know, a few years later, you guys really need to, you know, check out NoteSchool because, you know, our offerings have really matured and changed and this and that. And we kept thinking, yeah, we need to do that, you know. And then eventually, what was it? You came back to the Seattle area,
And
which is where we were living, and went to another 3-day, and we were like blown away at how things had changed. And we decided, okay, we need to kind of recommit to this. And so,
not to just discount what you were doing at the time, Eddie.
No.
We basically just had some other things that were going on in our lives that kind of took us another direction.
in a different direction.
And,
Yeah.
you know, and coming back to where we are now, it's like, wow, we're just, you know, we've learned so much over the years. It's like, I have the confidence talking to these investors who have flipped houses and sold houses for hundreds of thousands of dollars and so forth. And I have the confidence to tell them, you're doing things a little wrong. Let's look at it.
What if we can show you a better way?
Another way to look at it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
So, I mean, yeah, our day to day, our, you know, how our business is now. Well, and I should add, I mean, quite frankly, I took a year-long hiatus due to health reasons, and I was able to do that. And so, you know, that was pretty incredible. But, you know, with the shift in the market now, which we've been anticipating for a number of years, we knew it was going to happen. We just weren't quite sure what it was going to look like and when it was actually going to happen, but it's here. People are coming out of the woodwork now. You know, we have people who are, you know, maybe flippers, or they were going to burr, you know, they were going to buy a house and rehab it and rent it and refinance. And, you know, the market kind of changed all that because the interest rates weren't what they were planning and the housing prices have shifted. And so we have those people coming to us now looking for creative exits, looking for a way that, you know, they're not going to lose everything. We've got folks who they've been landlords for many years and they're just tired. They're just tired of it. So we can show them ways to perhaps maintain that cash flow, but not be a landlord anymore. And, you know, if they've owned their property for a period of time, they can, you know, there's creative ways where they can, you know, defer and potentially, you know, avoid capital gains altogether. There's folks who say, you know what, I've got this chunk of money, you know, maybe it's in my self-directed retirement account, or I sold a property, or whatever it is. They've got this chunk of money and they want us to do something with it. They're like, you know, we trust you guys. You know, we don't want to do this ourselves. We don't want to have to figure it out, but we want our money to be working for us. And so just, you know, within the last several months, there's kind of been a tsunami of folks who've been, you know, kind of coming to us, and the timing was good. So,
no, I mean,
yeah, so it's been busy doing all kinds of things.
When real estate was on fire, only thing people could think of is buy at a price and sell at a better price.
Exactly.
Or buy it and hold it, and the property was just going to jump up
It's
in
going to
value.
appreciate on its own. And sure, you could do things to force some appreciation with rehabs and whatever, but quite frankly, if you just sat on it for a few months, you were going to be good.
Yeah.
But that's not the case anymore.
Yeah.
And then people figure out that what we've learned with creative financing is very advantageous in market cycles.
It's very valuable. In fact, we have a friend who, he was a flipper, back after the last crash, and we actually helped him exit a few deals that went a little sideways with some creative finance techniques. He now he manages a hard money lending company, and he's reached out to us and said, hey, we have a lot of clients who could probably use your help. Would you be willing to help? So,
that's great.
Yeah.
Well, you guys exemplify what I want people to see in NoteSchool, and that is that you start down a path. We don't expect you to be an expert when you start.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And you don't have to be an expert immediately to start making money. There's strategies that are pretty simple that allow you to start make money. And then you get better and better as you progress, like everything else in life. Larry, you weren't a great photographer the very first 100 pictures you took, right?
Yeah, right. So, on that being said, financial calculator, I really struggled with math through high school, and I think I might have, it's like I barely passed and everything else. And finally, a few years ago, I decided, I really want to learn how to use a financial calculator, use it really well. And I just sat down in my recliner and I said, okay, I'm going to learn how to learn this, to do this thing. And it's like, so my moral on that sort of is that basically an old dog can learn new tricks.
Well, Larry, I build templates in Excel now, and they don't have to know near as much.
There's sometimes where if I'm working on a deal, I want to be able to punch numbers in right there and say, it's like, so I'm no longer the loser without a financial calculator.
That's awesome. No, it's the things that we figured out about building templates, so because once again, it's like somebody will pick something and they'll say, I can't do this because of ... Now, Larry, Marishka, you know me very well. And you can legitimately say, and no, Eddie really does have dyslexia. Like, we're not making this up.
It's a thing.
I've always considered it God's humor that I ended up in the paper business with a guy with dyslexia. Right?
Yeah.
So there's always a reason that we can't do it, right, Larry? We can find a reason that we can't do it if we convince ourselves of that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think one of the things that, every time we see a journey that somebody's been on, we learn more about how to exploit that and show a student, like Larry thought he struggled with this, but Larry accomplished this, and all of a sudden it's not his monster.
That's
right.
Mm-hmm.
And anyway, so you guys are just been excellent. You've been an ambassador for NoteSchool. You've been a poster child of what you can do. And you've also been a poster child for all of us that you pick life first and make your career fit around it.
Well, we feel really blessed that we've been able to do that. And thank you for that, for those kind words. I don't know, sometimes I feel like we kind of stumbled into it, but yeah, I feel really fortunate that we have been able to, put our life first and not be waiting, for permission from the boss to, take a trip or whatever. My boss told me we have to go to Italy this spring. So I guess we're going to have to go.
Well, very, very impressive, as I say, that you've had the discipline to do it. You got plenty of business to do, so you could go find a way to get busy nonstop. But I really so appreciate that in you, and you've influenced all of us and continuing to remind you of that. So you guys just have a great story, and I think you're sharing it today. How your transition and going from Listen, we all open a door and into a dark room, right?
Mhm.
You got to go find that light, right?
Yeah.
Nobody's going to enter everything, and every answer is going to be known up front. Life wouldn't be any fun if it were that way anyway, would it?
Well, and I think too, it's like we've always been open to, we need to surround ourselves with people smarter than we are. And so we've always said the value of investing in education is let's invest in it right now, as opposed to losing money later on in life because we made mistakes.
Yeah. I mean, you can learn a lot from making those mistakes, but sometimes they're really expensive. So come with a lot of stress.
Yeah. I mean, we all know the deal. There's bad education in
for sure.
anything in life, and you guys are good at vetting, where you get your information to make sure it's good information, but no ego. You guys have no ego. I'm so impressed. And you're extremely knowledgeable, but you have no ego, and congratulations on that.
Well, I mean, again, I think that just comes from surrounding ourselves with smart people, because I can come up with a lot of people who know stuff that we don't know. And I mean, we just kind of look at ourselves as just being really blessed to be able to, to count these folks as our friends. And, there's really nothing special about us. We're regular folks, but we just decided that, this is what we wanted to do, and we made it happen.
And like you, Eddie, I can't see myself retiring.
Yeah.
I'm having too much fun,
Yeah, I mean, there's a difference in just grinding every day. I mean,
For sure.
And I think most people, quite honestly, that's one of the things that you and I see about the guys that are in the house flipping business. It sounds really cool on TV, and it sounds really cool when you go to something and everybody's like, yeah, man, we're crushing it and blah, blah, blah. But the truth of the matter is they can't fool us. We know they're grinding.
Yeah.
And
you've traded one job for another bigger one.
Well, you guys have heard me say it, and I'll sort of say this in closing. I picked a business. I got lucky enough to pick a business that my father-in-law pointed out to me. Mm-hmm. And I've now pointed it out to my kids.
That's really
and
good.
It's worth inheriting. And a lot of businesses are not worth inheriting.
Yeah. That's quite a blessing.
Yeah.
And that has nothing to do with money.
Mm-hmm.
That means that is that what are you willing to go do that every day? Or are you going to wake up in 10 years with rent houses or flipping or whatever, and you're burnt out and you're fried, and there ain't no fun in that.
Yeah.
10 years later, you love this more than you did the day you started.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Larry and Marishka, thank you guys. You are awesome. Mr. Joe, I'm gonna let you close us out. Guys, thank you so much. Just to interview you and hear your voice and your stories, it's awesome. Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you so much. It's really our pleasure. Thank you.
And of course, if you can convince yourself to get on a plane to come with Martha to come visit us here, we have a guest room. We're always open.
Doors always
We're
open.
ready. We're ready. All right. Joe, close us out, my friend.
All right. Thank you so much, Eddie. Well, guys, thanks so much for watching and being with us on another edition of NoteSchool TV. Larry and Marishka they're true heroes in my book, and they're great people, and just again part of that NoteSchool ecosystem that just gets out there and gets it done all the time. So thank you so much, Larry and Marishka. Thank you, Eddie, and we will see you next week, same place, same time for NoteSchool TV. Thanks so much.